Learn history. Don't be stuck on history, but be amenable to change. You see, there's virtually anything in the world that's happening now that's never happened before. However, they manifest differently. The whole essence of history is to learn what has happened in the past and guide decision making in the future, not necessarily to copy what has happened in the past and the solution that's happened in the past exactly into what is happening in the present, because circumstances are different. How things manifest are different over time. People grow, people mature. However, the same problems happen. That is why the whole essence of history is to learn the principles. When you learn the principles of any circumstance or situation that has happened in the past, then that way you can apply the principle to what is happening in the future. That is why it's very important to be flexible in your mind. It is very important to understand what is happening around you and be flexible. Don't be too fixed on it, because what happened 10, 20 years ago will still manifest, but in a different way. What the experiences I faced is very similar to the experience my parents will face. However, the way it manifested during his own time will be different from the way it manifested during my own time. And obviously it will be different from the way it manifests in the next 30, 40 years. Even in marriages, when people give advice in marriages, the best advice are based on principle. It is not necessary to apply the same solution to the same people. And that is why I think a lot of our parent generation are missing wrong. They tend to advise you, in terms of marriage and career based on what they've gone through. However, they don't focus on the principle. They just focus on the symptoms and try to generalize everybody and put everybody into a box. But that's not the reality. The reality is that people will manifest, the same personality will manifest, but in different ways. It's the same thing as say someone that is unkind. Someone that is unkind will manifest in different ways. Somebody that has been traumatized and has not healed from the trauma will manifest it in different way in future. Say somebody who has been traumatized either by the parents or by past relationship, this kind of person will manifest it in the same. If the person is not healed, the person will manifest it in the relationship where they are at the moment. However, if you are not careful, if you don't have some level of discernment in you, you will be so fixed by the problem and you will not understand the pattern. You see, every time there's a problem, I can bet you there's a high chance that somebody has experienced something similar. Not necessarily the same thing, but in terms of principles. So the whole essence of it is that learn from history. However, take the knowledge you've had to be able to apply it to the flexibility of the future. It's the same thing with wisdom. Knowledge has been passed from generation to generation, but it's the application, is the wisdom that determines how fruitful you can be. It's the wisdom that will determine the potential of the result if you were applying it through principles or basically applying it by using symptoms and trying to fix the same thing. So try as much as possible to learn principles from the past and insert into your future. And another thing that I think distorts people in this train of thought of trying to misunderstand principles and trying to fix the same reality is fear. You know, when you are so consumed by fear, you tend to always want to totally avoid things from similar things that's happened from similar things that's happened in the past, which will limit you in experiencing your future. Just like people who have been traumatized, just like I gave the example earlier in terms of trauma. So the whole essence of this video is just that learn from history, stick to the principle. There's always a principle that governs life, and inside the principle as you go. It is when you are able to be flexible and learn this principle properly that you can get the best out of life. Thank you.